Welcome back to Playoff Interviews. Today we have the members from Pawn Sacrifice Black, the number one team in GPCS. With me today, I have Zooey, their mid laner, and Daddy Zillion, their support. What's up, guys?
How you doing?
All
I'm all
right.
right, y'all.
Doing great.
Well, probably the most anticipated interview that everyone is looking forward to, especially on the GP side, is with you guys. So let's not waste any more time and get into it. First thing I want to know from you guys is how did this iteration of Pawn Sacrifice come together?
Um,
If you don't know the
so
origin story, you can give me how you became a member of the roster.
I've been around Duo for way too long. Uh, PS has basically been a part of it for like every season except one that I've been in here. So the orgs, I've known the org for a while. I've known Sheer for a while. Amari, like all the PS members, and I was on the roster for a very short stint a few seasons ago as their top laner, and it was supposed to be a for fun season, and that didn't last very long, and I ended up leaving. And then this season, I tried to find a team for another league because I didn't want to play in duo again this season because I just came off of losing semis 2 seasons in a row with TA, and I was like,
Okay.
that's it. I'll just take 2 semis on my what's it called, uh, resume, my amateur resume or whatever, and just call it that. And I couldn't find a team, and I reached out to Sheer, or Sheer reached out to me because I posted in duo, I believe, that I was looking for a team, and Sheer was like, PSB needs a mid laner, and I was like, I'm in. And then we started getting all the gang from TA back together. So uh, this iteration of PSB is literally 90% of the roster is Team Ambition from last season, and then half of PSB from last season.
Okay. What about you, Daddy Zillion? And those of you who I know recognize this guy, he is one of the longtime casters of Duo. And I think I've actually seen you play in a couple other leagues too, so might be a lot of people out there that recognize your name, if not your face. What's up, man? How did you become part of PSB?
I mean, uh, I've always been there just to like be essentially like backup essentially for Amari. I've normally been like a sub for PSB, or I started for PSY a season when that was a thing. But for this season, really, I was kind of looking for something kind of like low commitment, like not too many scrims every week or so. And then Amari hit Diamond last season, so she reached out to me and said, "Hey, we need to support this season." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll join you guys this season," and that was that.
So, how do you like being a full time member versus a sub now? Is the commitment still low, or
Oh
is
yeah,
it
I'm still low.
okay? Sweet. So, that's what you were looking for. Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
exactly.
So, what are you guys' hobbies outside of League? Do you play any other games? Do you have any sports that you're into? Cars? What do you got? Let's learn a little bit about you.
Uh, Very big Lost Ark addiction at the moment. Um, that was like the one game that I was looking forward to for, oh God, when did the game come out in Korea? I think it came out in Korea in 2018. So I've been waiting for the game to get a Western release for like 3.5 years now. So I synced probably in the first 2 months of the game was out almost 300 hours into it,
Holy
250
shit!
hours I think. Yeah. Uh, Other than that, Overwatch, Call of Duty, mostly like shooters and League, obviously. But
Okay.
outside of video games, soccer and volleyball I played in high school. Um, I still play them both like casually. Like I'll just play like pickup games with some friends from school every now and then. But other than that,
Are
nothing
you
really else.
really tall?
Yeah, I'm 6'1".
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
I'm a little taller than you. Uh,
Oh, fuck.
what about you, Daddy Zillion? What hobbies do you have?
I'm a full-time student, so it's my senior year, so I do right now at the moment I'm a computer science, so I program a lot. But when I'm not doing that, I play a lot of rhythm games and card games. So like I'll play like Hearthstone, Legend of Runeterra, Yu-Gi-Oh, and then I'll also be playing stuff like Eterna, Clone Hero, and one recent game I got to was Rhythm Doctor.
Okay.
But
I'm really happy that Yu-Gi-Oh got another game
yeah.
this year. Wow, it's
Mhm.
way better. Although I'm a classic Yu-Gi-Oh fan, so all the amount of summonings that you can do is kind of throwing me off. Not gonna lie. Well, now that we know a little bit more about you, let's get into the nitty gritty of semis. So, if I'm correct, you guys have New World, or you have DOV Black
Yes.
as your
Mhm.
opponent. So, I know who you think is going to win. What I want to know is how do you guys match up in every position versus them? Is there a position that you actually think that they, if they get a good lead in, that they can just absolutely blow you guys out of the water and carry a game from it? Or is there something that you're looking forward to, like this is our style, we're going to make them play it? Although you do not have to give away any draft strategies, and I would actually prefer you not to, or any picks or anything like that. I just want to know how you feel about your opponent that you're coming up against tomorrow.
Want to go first, Cillian?
I mean, I think we're just gonna play our 3 games and then be done with it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was only 2 teams that I was worried about coming to this playoffs, and that was basically whoever won the other side of the bracket, right? Whoever was the winner of Beta Fox and Team Ambition. But one of those teams have been quietly dealt with in the background, and uh, as for DOV, they're just lucky to make it this far, I guess. So
Okay.
yeah.
What about you, Zuri? How are you feeling about DOV Black?
I think as much as I go back and forth with this guy in Gen Chat, and as much as he gives me um, brain cell lossage, I think their mid laner is actually not that bad. Foreshadow. But I think even with that being said, I'm pretty sure every single role on PSP is still just better. I'm not saying it's just going to be a straight up team gap, because the second game that we played against them, we did have our work cut out for us a little bit, like near the end stage of that game. But I'm pretty sure with how we've been playing after our Beta Fox loss, that the games aren't really gonna be too close.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm going to be the error of bad news, or for lack of a better term. I actually think that DOV is a little better than you guys are giving them credit for, right? They are my dark horse. I think that if you don't take them seriously, that they could actually beat you guys. Now, the likelihood of that happening is probably only about 10%, 15%, realistically. But I think that they have a chance. I don't think that it's just a straight give win PSB 3-0. I think it
Yeah,
actually prediction 3-1.
Yeah, I don't think, even though I'm saying that it's gonna be like not even close, like the way that both of our teams play, like the game, I expect all the games to be like pre 27 minutes, like stomps. Like it's either gonna be one way or the other. I don't think it's gonna be like this super close like 40-minute banger that's gonna be like one team fight on objective type thing.
Okay, okay. Um, I'm actually curious to see how you guys think that your team stacks up against DOV in the top lane. And I asked this question based off of very little knowledge of your games and what has happened in them. I just know the 2 that I have watched, it seemed a lot like Sheer was very weak side, very weak side oriented top lane those 2 games. And DOV has showed moments where they play really strong top side. How do you feel about Sheer being able to absorb that pressure? Is it something that he's used to? You think he'll be fine, or is it exploitable?
You wanna go first, Cillian?
Sure. Um, I think we've shown a lot that Sheer plays weak side in a lot of the games we play, and he might feed like a couple of kills here and there, but he'll always bring it back. He's able to just he'll like sometimes chain die. Like sometimes I think there was one game where he like died 4 or 5 times early. But he's able to still get enough CS and still be a threat in this game, in those games. So I think it's fine if they kill Sheer early. Like there's no problem. He'll deal with it, and the rest of the team will deal with it. So
Okay. What
no
about you,
problem.
Zoo? How you feeling?
There is a very long time standing meme in the Duo Esports community that I don't think you're aware of. And that meme is no matter how many times you gank Sheer, you will still lose the game. Sheer has been ganked probably way too many times to count this season. And the seasons before, when me and Daddy Zillion played on TA together, it was always because we always thought like on TA that Sheer was like the weak point of those PS rosters at the time. So we tried to abuse that and get our top laner ahead, but then everything else would fall apart like come the mid late game stages because the coordination was just better. And I think this iteration of PSP that we're in right now has better coordination than the past iterations. So I'm pretty sure Sheer will be able to handle it because he's been dealing with it for the last like 4 seasons now, where he just gets ganked and ganked and ganked and ganked and ganked. But I think that like the rest of the map is, I think he's really self-sufficient as a player. Like he can just take the beating and still be like even or like a little bit behind in gold, even if he's dying to ganks every like 5 minutes.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So with your side of the bracket done and the other side, unfortunately, also finished, that would put you guys versus Beta Fox in the finals. It's pretty much the same iteration of the last question, just versus Beta Fox. And I know, Zillion, you have some reservations about Beta Fox that you say, okay, hey, our semifinals match isn't that hard, but finals could get a little rough for us. So how are you feeling about Beta Fox and how you guys match up against them?
You go first, Zooey.
Okay. Beta Fox is a headache. I will say that. I will just straight up say it. It is very, 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 very difficult to do draft against this team because they send all 5 of their players to 5 different roles in what they line up with in the lobby. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, this person plays these champions in this role. This person plays these champions in this role. Like, it's really hard to deal with. So they're not only are they like individually good players, they're also menaces in draft because they can all play multiple roles proficiently and win. Because it clearly worked at the end of the season because they were like bottom of the barrel getting to the playoffs. They were like the 6th seed, and then they just won 6 games in a row, 7 games in a row, I'm pretty sure, and won the tiebreakers for second. So they're definitely a lot. I think going into playoffs, I was scared of that team the most compared to every other team in the brackets.
Okay, what about you, Zillion? How are you feeling about Beta Fox?
Pretty similar. I'm not a fan of teams that are willing to kind of place their players wherever they feel like from game to game. It kind of made me a bit worried of NWE a bit because I feel like NWE is like a failed version of what Beta Fox has got going for them, where you put your players where you want game to game. But compared to NWE, Beta Fox has a even stronger right solo carry, right? Shrimp's crazy, and the rest of his team ain't that bad either. So that's the one matchup I'm really worried about is the Beta Fox matchup. So yeah.
Okay, well, this is a community-driven league, and I want to ask you guys a question from the opponent side that the community has brought to me. Do you feel like Beta Fox getting the automatic win is a good thing, or do you think they should have played New World?
Were they not going to face TAS?
Well, they were, but the team that TAS beat.
Oh,
Who did
that's
TAS not beat? Did they play New World and beat them, or was it somebody?
No, they played KSU.
Oh,
TA played KSU.
so do you feel like they should have played KSU, right? So even though they do all these weird draft things, you guys get a, like a, hey, this is what they did in these games, something to base yourself off of, right? Or, or not let them have 3 weeks of straight scrims. Or do you think it's an advantage that they haven't had to play a competitive game in 3 weeks?
I think it could. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it could be good and bad that they haven't played a comp game in so long. Obviously, because duo. I feel like duo as a whole has always been like a very low commitment league. Like I feel like the players don't have to put in like 2 or 3 days worth of scrims like a week, or even just 2 scrims a week. Like I feel like you can get away with 1 scrim a week in duo. Like if you're playing strictly in duo as an org or a team. and get away with it and do just fine. But 3 weeks of scrims and not having a comp game makes scouting hard on the other team. Like you haven't seen what these players are playing like
Right.
against other good opponents. Like TA was a good team, and I think they matched up pretty well into Beta Fox. So not getting to see like how what could have been 5 games of drafting played out makes it pretty disadvantageous for us. I would have liked to see KSU beat TA. I think everyone was, because KSU was my underdog when I went on the tower dive like at the start of the season. So I would have appreciated it if Duo did that as a like good motion, kind of. But it is what it is.
What about you, Zillion? How are you feeling about that whole scenario?
I mean, I think it's pretty much the same as Zooey, right? Would have loved to have seen what they had in their pockets for draft. To be fair, I don't think much would have changed from what they've already played, personally, because I think they've also would have been able to do it in 3 games. As far as is that beneficial or hurt us? I will say that it has been. We have it's been like 2 patches basically since we technically last saw them play. So, and there's been a definitely a change in priority, right? Some champions have been buffed and nerfed. I don't want to specify any in case that kind of leads on what we want to play. As far as if KSU should have been allowed to play instead of TAS, that would have been a cool storyline. But these sorts of things almost never happen unless they dropped out before playoffs started. So unfortunate, but that's just how Duo is sometimes.
Okay. So let me get some scoreline predictions for the finals. You guys versus Beta Fox. What are you thinking?
3-2.
I was, I feel like I know it's gonna be 3-2, but I wrote 3-1 in my predictions.
Okay. I also wrote 3-2 in my predictions. So I think you guys win it, honestly. But I think that what you've been talking about, their draft is just really strong, but just for the simple fact that they play so many different roles. And they are pretty much guaranteed a good matchup, right? Because everybody plays every role, and they can just match whatever they have that's good into it. I do think that gets confusing sometimes for a team, and I do not think that they play the macro game as well as you guys. So I think just the team coordination and the macro gameplay for PSB is what's going to bring them ahead of Beta Fox.
I could agree with that one.
So we have something very, very hype, in my opinion, coming up. I'm sure you guys have heard about it. I'm sure you know all about it. The winner of GPCS gets to play in Amateur Worlds. And I am so stoked for that. And being that PSB has been such a dominant force over the last few seasons in Duo, a lot of people are expecting it to be you guys, right? So how do you feel about the opportunity to play in probably what us amateur players, the greatest opportunity you'll ever get to play against for what we would call a Worlds? How you guys feel about that?
I'll take it first, Zooey.
Mhm.
So this is actually not the first time I've been invited to the Amateur Worlds. I think the first time it was with Zero.gg. And that one there was just not enough interest, and so we didn't end up going. But this time around, I think we all said we're fairly interested. So we'll see. But the only issue is that our league ends, I think, a month or 2 earlier than everyone else's.
Yeah.
So there is some downtime in between when Duo finishes and when Amateur Worlds happens. So there might still not be enough interest toward the end, but I'm excited to play in it. I will say that I think personally, while it is cool to face the first place teams from a bunch of other leagues and whatnot, I think my favorite world type thing was this league called the Age League, the APL.
Mm-hmm.
There was 24 teams in that league, and it was just so many familiar Duo names and just previous teammates that I had. So I don't want to compare two products, but I am excited for Worlds, but also I do want to shout out APL because that was also felt like a Worlds type thing for me.
Okay. What about you, Zilly? How do you feel about it?
So I heard about like the possibility of amateur worlds being talked about probably like right around the end of last league season. So like the end of what are we in, season 12 right now, or season 11? I don't remember exactly, but like the end of last league season. So like right around that November period, I heard about like the possibility of it, and it sounded really cool. So I was trying to get on teams for the split to play in a tournament. And when I heard that Duo was like one of the possible names, I was like, that was more incentive for me to actually play, because I was just gonna quit playing pop if I didn't get onto a team. And then I messaged Sheer. But Amateur Worlds really hype because I've been around the amateur scene for a really long time. So watching like all these teams like with players that I know like for a while, that are like deep into their playoff runs, that have the potential to make it, and playing against like friends and old teammates, it's a really exciting experience. I hope you win out so that we can be a part of it.
Well, great. Any last words for anyone that might be watching? Any secret fans? Any opponents or haters? Anything to say here at the end?
Foreshadow! I'm coming for your number, bud. I got you. I got your name written on my wrist, and every time I kill you, it's just gonna be over. It's just a mid gap already.
What about you, Zillion? Anything? Any final words?
Let's make it spicy. I don't think any bot lane comes close to what Sky and I have. So have fun. Just know that you're not gonna win bot.
All right. Well, thank you guys for the interview. I do appreciate your time, and I look forward to
Thanks for
seeing you
having
guys
us.
in the semis. Thanks, guys.
All right.